I don't believe in long-term goals. That's because all my life, long-term goals have failed me over and over again. And this is why, unless it's something tangible, something feasible, something wherein the proverbial goal is actually in sight for me, I just have no faith in it until it actually happens. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everyone should think like me. I'm just saying that this is how I think, and I'm fine like this, living one day at a time. You don't have to worry about hypothetical what-if scenarios. If you disagree with me, I assure you, no one thinks like me. Time. Time is finite. I've said this before. This was one of my realizations after the worldwide effects of COVID-19 and the ensuing government lockdowns. They dubbed this new way of life as a new normal here in the Philippines. Truthfully, I thought at that time that they were right, that life would never again go back to the way it was before. Thankfully, that has not been the case. But in the time it took for governments worldwide to come to terms with COVID-19, during that time, when the world stood still for a brief moment, perhaps 2 to 3 years at most, life went on. Lives were lost, yet new lives were born. Lives ended, and lives began. And time simply kept moving forward, even if the world did not. Many of us lived through the lockdowns, the government scares, and the complicated politics surrounding COVID-19. But some of us did not. Some of us never saw what life was like after the Great Plague. You may not yet understand this, depending on where you stand in life right now. You may even think that such a notion is laughable or preposterous. But when the future starts to hold less and less things for you, as the years pass you by, and the past becomes more and more like a distant dream from the pages of your idealized book of memories, you'll start to realize just how precious time can be. So spend that time and grasp it firmly with both hands. Don't let it slip past you. Take those opportunities. Learn a new skill. Spend time with your family. Spend time with your friends. Learn a new sport. Visit your grandparents. Play that game you always wanted to play. Go to that one beach outing you've been planning on for a while. Do it while you still can. You don't have forever, and the time you have left is rapidly slipping past your fingertips the longer you procrastinate. To all my subscribers, to all my members, to the friends I've lost and the friends I've gained, and to all of you listening to me right now, thank you for all the memories, and I hope to continue to be Elle for you for as long as I can. I don't believe in long-term goals because long-term goals have failed me over and over again. I don't believe in long-term goals because my eyes are open to what I can see in front of me right now. Happy New Year, everyone. I love you all. And so, to start off the new year, allow me to read to you a story of enduring friendship, of lost opportunities, and the power of hope. This is Elle-C Bedtime Stories, number 8, Hikari's Ribbon. Please, listen with all your heart. Once upon a time, In a place long forgotten, a little girl named Hikari was living with her aunt in an isolated hut in the forest. Hikari would often venture into the forest to play with the animals. Then, one day, intrigued by the sound of her laughter, a young elf approached her. When she saw the elf, the girl was deathly scared of the strange, long-eared, human-like creature. But then, the elf began to speak to her in the few reassuring human words that he knew. "Don't be afraid. We are friends." Hikari, although hesitant at first, soon realized that the elf meant her no harm. She smiled softly. "Yes, we are friends." And so, from that day on, Hikari and the elf became good friends. He showed her many wonderful elfin magic that delighted her to no end. One day, however, they had a vicious quarrel. It was over something so trivial that it shouldn't have gone so far. Yet, in the world of humans, often the most insignificant things lead to families breaking up, wars erupting, and the best of friends parting. While they were playing, Hikari's precious purple ribbon, which her aunt had given her, fell into the river. The current was so fast that there was no way that it could have been retrieved in time. Nobody was sure whose fault it was. Neither of them wanted to be at fault. So Hikari blamed the elf, and the elf in turn blamed her. The argument got so out of proportion, with neither of them backing down, that Hikari ran away screaming, "I hate you, and I never want to see you again! You're not real! Elves don't exist!" At first, the elf in his anger also did not want to see her again. But then, looking back at what had happened, he realized that they had fought for such a stupid reason that it couldn't possibly destroy their great friendship. He felt sure that Hikari would realize this and would someday return to their usual spot in the forest. And the young elf waited and waited for a very long time, but his dear friend never returned. Yet he kept on believing in Hikari, for he knew in his heart that they were still friends. What the elf didn't know was that Hikari's aunt had died of an illness, and she had since returned to civilization. And the elf, who kept believing that his dear friend would return, finally made a decision. "That ribbon! I will search for her precious purple ribbon, and once I find it, she will surely return." And the elf left the forest in search of the purple ribbon. He searched in caves. He searched in streams and rivers. He searched in the petrified woods, but he still could not find the precious purple ribbon. He even came to the human world, where he met a man who offered him a box full of pretty purple ribbons. "All yours, kid, for the very low price of $1.99. But the elf knew that the thing he was searching for was different. Even though they looked similar, his friend's ribbon was not there. So he moved on. Another time in his travels, he came upon a fellow elf who asked him, "Why are you so intent on finding that little girl's ribbon? It's obvious that she doesn't want to see you anymore." But the elf was unfazed. He knew Hikari better than that, and he never stopped believing in her. I just need to find it, and she will surely return, because we are friends. And the young elf continued his search until he reached the land of eternal snow. He pushed on through the deep drifts, the biting cold, and the freezing winds, which tirelessly battered his frail little body. Then, in the distance, he saw a strange sight. A snow beast with bear-like claws, long, sharp, jagged teeth, and 2 killer horns. Much to his delight, he saw a purple ribbon stuck to one of the beast's horns. He immediately recognized that it was a ribbon that he had been searching for. He approached the snow beast carefully, wanting only to take the purple ribbon from its horn. But this particular beast was especially sensitive to magical creatures. It immediately smelled the presence of magic. The snow beast turned in the direction of the elf, and without warning, mercilessly pounced on him. The elf was driven deep into the snow, where the beast pummeled and trampled him, until he was no longer moving. Time passed. The elf, who was barely breathing, slowly opened his eyes. He was greeted by a familiar pair of eyes, looking weirdly into his own. They belonged to a pretty girl who had found his half-dead body in the snow. "Are you all right, little boy? Should I take you to a doctor?" But the elf refused her offer, knowing fully well that he was beyond any kind of help now. He held his hand out to her and asked her to take what he was holding. It was Hikari's purple ribbon. "It's yours. I knew that you would return if I found it. I believed in you, because we are friends." For the elf knew that even though her appearance had changed, this person was indeed the same little girl whom he had shared so many precious memories with. And as the little girl was now an adult who had stopped believing in fairy tales and magic long ago, took the purple ribbon, which was now faded with age and torn in several places in her hand. Tears slowly and uncontrollably fell from her eyes. For deep in her heart, even though her adult self denied the existence of magical creatures, the young lady remembered a precious friend that she had taken for granted long ago. She remembered the many bygone years when she had returned to that special place in the forest in search of him. And even though it seemed impossible, she knew that this dying little boy in front of her was a precious friend she had been searching for. And thus, remembering the days of her childhood, through the mist of tears, she once again smiled with that same innocence that she thought she had lost long ago, and said the very same words that had started their friendship. "Yes, we are friends." And she added, "We will always be friends." And upon hearing this, the elf breathed his last. But something unusual happened. His body rose up into the sky and was bathed in a faint white light. Then the light dispersed and covered the entire world for an instant, leaving no trace of the elf's body behind. Yet, because it was only for a very short time, only a few people saw this light. This was a light of trust, The elf's trust for Hikari was so immense that it spread out to engulf the entire world when he died. A long time has passed since the world received the light of trust, and although it may not have changed things all that much, noticeably, the people started believing in each other just a little bit more. The end. And with that, I bid you a good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I'm a cute little girl with a jaded face. Elle is my name and 13 is my age. I'm not just a lolly and that's a fact. I'll praise and cheer for all your super chats. Please subscribe.